If I Were Adam, by Stephen Scott Wallace. Have you ever wondered how it was that Adam managed to fail the biggest test in human history and doom all of mankind over an apple? Think about it. Adam had it made. No taxes, no alarm clocks, no reruns of My Name is Earl. Just paradise. Perfect weather, endless fruit, and let's face it, the most stunning woman on earth. And still, he blew it. Now, I've made some bad decisions in my day, like buying sushi from a gas station, or the time I made the sticky mistake of confusing Aquanet hairspray for Right Guard deodorant. But I'm still pretty confident I wouldn't have fumbled the fate of humanity over a piece of fruit. Maybe guys just weren't that sharp back then. I mean, turn a few pages in the Bible and you've got a guy trading everything he owns for a bowl of chili. Look, I enjoy chili as much as the next guy, and I'll admit my IQ isn't exactly Nobel-worthy. But even I wouldn't trade my house, car, and inheritance for a steaming bowl of beans, not even with extra jalapenos. Seriously, what kind of guy gets handed paradise on a silver platter and still thinks, yeah, but what about that shiny apple? If I had been Adam. Totally different story. Or maybe not. Here's what I imagine might have happened had God picked Steve instead of Adam to kick things off. But let's be real for a second. The more I think about it, the more I start to wonder, would I really have done any better? I mean, sure, it's easy to talk a big game from the comfort of my couch with snacks and Wi-Fi. But drop me into a sun-drenched garden with one simple job. A hot naked girl, no pants, and a talking snake whispering sweet nothings in my ear. And honestly, things might have gone off the rails even faster. Let's face it, if history had handed me the apple test, there's a good chance we'd all still be doomed. Actually, scratch that. Knowing me, it probably wouldn't have even taken an apple. This is my version of what went down. What could have happened if God had put me in the garden instead of Adam? Spoiler alert, it doesn't end well, but it's one hell of a ride on the way down. So there we were, me and Eve, co-rulers of paradise. And for the first few hundred years, life was good. I had a garden straight out of a nature documentary, fruit trees on every corner, and a private zoo where I got to name the animals. Most of them didn't make it past the flood, but that's a whole different mess. And Eve? Absolute 10. Hottest woman on the planet. Granted, she was also the only woman on the planet, but still, flawless. And naked. Always. As for me, I'm just strutting around like a king. No bills, no death, no pants. Living the dream. But here's the kicker. Sin doesn't just show up overnight. People don't wake up thinking, you know what? I think I'll curse all of mankind for all of eternity today. No, it doesn't usually work like that. It usually takes its sweet little time. Time, something I would have a lot of. I mean, Adam lived to be 930 years old before he died, so if it had been Steve instead, I figure I'd be on a similar track. And let me tell you, after the first 200 or 300 years of pruning trees and cleaning up after those elephants, I would imagine it wears on a guy. Century after century of trimming fig trees loses its charm pretty quick, and once, someone is a little dissatisfied. Sin creeps in. Me? I'm no different from the next guy, and probably not much different from Adam himself. I can imagine for both of us, it would have started with something small. One tiny act of self-indulgence, and boom, the floodgates fly open. I don't know about Adam, but for me, I like to fish. What guy doesn't? But it wasn't just the fishing, it was the solitude, the stillness, the peace, the leisure ... Did I get lazy? Maybe. But mostly I got comfortable. Too comfortable. And can you blame me? Life was easy. No thorns, no storms, no surprise visits from in-laws. So instead of grinding away in the garden every day, I started sneaking in the occasional me day. Just me, a fishing pole, and the Tigris River. The water was cool, the breeze just right, and best of all, no Eve. No chores, no divine pressure, just mushrooms, everywhere. and let me tell you something about those mushrooms. So there I am, kicked back on the riverbank, fishing rod in one hand, feet in the water, vibing out to Stairway to Heaven. Pure bliss. I glance down at the little fungi dotting the shoreline and think, what the heck? I pop a couple in my mouth. And then, I feel it. Not just mellow, cosmic. The birds sound extra chirpy. The clouds are doing this slow-motion ballet, the air question mark. Smells like joy. And the animals? Oh man. They're not just making noise, they're talking like full-on sentences, syntax, grammar, attitude. Bro, I say, locking eyes with a nearby hippo. You get me, don't you? The hippo blinks. Dude, I knew you understood. Next thing I know, I'm chatting with everyone. The otters are cracking jokes, the turtles are dropping ancient wisdom. The beavers? They're giving me relationship advice, which I should have listened to. And in the middle of my mushroom-fueled enlightenment, I think, dang, I might be the smartest man alive. Which, technically, I was. But still. It's a full-on Dr. Dolittle moment, just me, nature, and my deep thoughts about the universe, chilling like a sage on sabbatical. At first, it's just a once-in-a-while thing. A little river escape here and there. But after a few months, even when I'm supposed to be out harvesting pears and fertilizing the garden, I'm not. I'm daydreaming about the river instead. My productivity dips. Not a lot, just a little more each day. Until one day I just stop working altogether. Now I'm down by the river every day. Why not? Eve's getting naggy. She's going on about how the cupboards are going bare and how the trees aren't producing anymore. And I can't deal with it. The more she nags, the more I need the river, the shrooms, the animal conversation. At least the animals don't nag or complain about headaches every night. But then, my fun came crashing to an end. Eve ruined everything. One day she storms down to the riverbank, kicking up dirt, hair wild, looking mad as hell. Steve! I blink, real slow, turn toward her. She's aged. Now look, I'm not saying she looked bad, but let's be honest. After 4 or 5 centuries, gravity starts making some executive decisions. Skin's not as tight. Stuff that once defied physics is now playing by the rules. And whether it was the shrooms, the cool evening air, or just plain stupidity, I made a really, really bad decision. I squinted at her, tilted my head, and said, "Dang, woman, have some modesty, cover yourself with a leaf or something." And that was the moment it all went south. Heaven was starting to feel a lot like hell, and as you can imagine, I was deep in the doghouse after that little leaf comment. And around here, time gets weird. One awkward week of silent treatment turns into a couple of centuries if you're not paying attention. Eve wasn't talking to me. Not a word. Just the look. Every time I opened my mouth, she'd hit me with that cold, 1,000-yard stare, like she was mentally rehearsing ways to smother me with a fig leaf. And to make things worse, the garden was dying. No more lush fruit. No juicy grapes. Just shriveled, sad little excuses for food barely hanging on to brittle branches. Even the mushrooms had disappeared, like they got fed up and migrated to a better ecosystem. So now I'm busting my tail every day, digging up half-rotten roots, foraging for wrinkled carrots, praying there's enough to keep us alive. We're one bad leaf away from starvation. Eve's furious, I'm exhausted. The garden's a graveyard, nothing's working. And of course, everything's my fault. She's threatening to leave, I'm looking for a lawyer, but guess what? No lawyers in Eden. One day, I walk into the hut and mutter something about how I'm starving to death. Eve spins around, eyes blazing. "Oh, really? And why's that, you lazy lug? You seriously don't see what's happening?" I blink. What? She throws up her hands. The trees are dying. The fruit's gone. You know why? Because somebody decided to abandon the garden and go on a permanent mushroom vacation. I scratch my head. Huh, that is weird. She narrows her eyes, voice low and loaded. You know what's not weird? The only tree still bursting with fruit is that tree, the one we're not supposed to touch, the one you forbade me to even look at. My eyes go wide. Yeah, Eve snaps. I looked at it. That fruit? It's thriving, glowing, like it knows we're hungry. Meanwhile, I'm here wasting away while you're down at the river playing Fantasy League with squirrels. I swallow hard. Evening. Seriously. Stay away from that tree. I mean it. She doesn't reply, just folds her arms and stares at me like the damage is already done. So one day, I'm sitting by the river, which by now had turned to mud and was starting to dry up, and I find myself dreaming about the good old days. No luck catching anything, not even a nibble, so I finally gave up and decided to head home. Maybe Eve's managed to scrape together something edible. I walk in, and Eve's entertaining a guest. Not just any guest. A real slick-looking dude standing dead center in our hut like he owns the place. I stop cold. Blink a few times, squint, trying to figure out if this is the mushrooms talking again, or if there's actually some guy in my house with my wife. My first thought is she did find a lawyer. And I was pretty sure the best there is. This guy was sharp. Anaconda cowboy boots, snake leather suit, tailored to perfection. Long black hair slicked back into a glossy ponytail. Eyes like slits, cold, calculating, predatory. And he's grinning, like he already owns us. I clear my throat. Eve? Eve, smiling like she's never been mad in her life, gestures to the snake-slick stranger. Steve, you have to hear this guy. He's got a great plan. I narrow my eyes. My stomach tightens. Uh-huh. And who exactly are you? The man chuckles, smooth as butter. Just a friend. They call me the Serpent. Right. And what's this great plan my wife's talking about? The Serpent steps closer, voice smooth as oil. Oh, you're gonna love this, buddy. I mean, I know you're tired. All that pruning, all that sweating under the sun, it's a grind, ain't it? I shrug. I mean, yeah. He nods knowingly. What if I told you? You didn't have to do any of that ever again. What if you could live in paradise, just fishin' and snacking on mushrooms all day, and never lift a finger? Now he's speaking my language. The Serpent leans in, voice like velvet. I'm talking real luxury. No more stress. No more dirt under your nails. Just pleasure. And the best part? I'll take care of the garden. You? You just relax. I scratch my beard. Keep talking. He flashes a grin, and bam! Pulls out a silver platter. And right there in the center is the biggest, juiciest apple I've ever seen. Straight from that tree. The forbidden one. But man, my stomach's growling like a lion. Here's the deal, the Serpent says. You give me control of the garden, and in return, you get this. He gestures to the apple. Not just today. Every day. You'll eat like a king. No work. No hassle. Just paradise. On a platter. The apple practically glows. It's got this impossible shine like it's been polished by angels. I swear I can taste it just looking at it. Live like a king, do nothing, be served for life. I lick my lips but something about that smile. It don't sit right. And now? I've got a choice to make, and we all know how that turns out. So yeah, I used to think Adam was an idiot. Thought I'd have done better, smarter, stronger, more self-control. But now, I get it. You give a guy paradise, a naked woman, a fishing pole, and just one rule, and sooner or later he's gonna find a way to blow it. Maybe it wasn't really about the apple, maybe it never is, no, maybe it's about comfort, or boredom, or mushrooms. All I know is we humans are a messy bunch, and even in a perfect world, we'll find a way to complicate it. Still, if I could go back, I might rethink the leaf comment, and maybe, just maybe, I'd listen to those damn talking beavers.